Philip Hanson. I retired as a sergeant major, active duty. I also had a reserve commission, which I retired as a major. So I was kind of dual component. I was a weird bird there. So anyway, but during the mission, I was a sergeant first class, E7. I was about 29 years old, had been in the military for about a little over 10 years. I was part of the red cell that we were broken in red, white, and blue. And red cell was mostly A squadron. And I was on one of the search assault teams there. And also, as we went into the embassy, I was across the embassy walls, I was the point man to kind of lead everybody where we needed to go. I was really proud and honored to make it through the assessment and selection portion of that on my first attempt, and to serve with some of the best NCOs and officers that the military had to offer at the time. And to be given, I think that was really unique, given the freedom and opportunity to be creative and think outside the box and develop different tactics and techniques and procedures that we built and then were built on and are still in use today, not only just for the special mission units around the world in different places, but also across the entire Army. There's more integrated and needed to be more integrated training with our sister services, so to speak. And to realize that you needed specialized, dedicated units. This isn't something you can do ad hoc. And we needed specialized units to work with us, like it's now the 160th Aviation Brigade, the Night Stalkers. They started out as a task force. And we started working with them, developing some things there. I think after this, the Navy formed SEAL Team 6. They were formed after this. And I think the Navy and the Marines and the Air Force, everybody looked at their capabilities and said, this isn't just something, you can go out and practice and have done in, a couple of weeks, a couple of months when you need it. We're going to have to dedicate the resources, time, and people to become specialized in these things if the United States wants to have this capability. And I think that's been done. For me, a couple of years ago, and I know Logan Fitch and Glenn Nickel were there too, we did a special panel for the Silent Warrior Foundation in Arizona, in Scottsdale. And what was really unique is, I'm going to be down in Huntsville for a couple of days. Not only, we always learn something from everybody. We didn't do a whole lot of talking about this when we came back. We had other jobs to do. We had to prep for other things. But I have learned something from my brothers, shall I say, every time I have done this. It's an opportunity to learn something new. I learned something from Logan last time about when the last airplane we were on took off, and we thought it had hit a big bump in sand, and he and I had both assumed that, and he informed me that no, that hadn't happened. The pilot was trying to force the airplane up, and as he tried to force it up, he didn't have enough forward speed, and it slammed back down. We thought we'd hit something in the back, but it took years to clarify things of some of the things that really happened. The other thing that happened in Scottsdale, I actually had time to sit down and talk with the CCT people who were on the ground, who I only met when we went on the mission. And I may have met them at a couple of the anniversaries of the mission just to shake their hand, hi, how are you doing, and those things. But we really had a chance to sit down and talk and discuss. And so to not only just the CCT, but some of the pilots and some of the hostages and those, to really get to know them as people and find out what they were feeling and what they were doing during the mission. If we don't understand history, we're going to repeat it. We have to be ready. We have to be able to think out of the box. And I think to a certain extent, to a large extent, our military is capable of doing that. Special operations has, I think I've heard in the past that this was one of the most successful failures in the history of the military, because we saw what we did wrong and we were able to build on this. And it's always in the military, we're always taught about our lineage and our background and our history, and we have a tendency in the military to fight the last war. The tactics we used today are the ones that we used most recently. And a lot of people said the mission we went on, Eagle Claw, was a lot like, and in some cases similar to the Song Tay raid that happened in Vietnam. We've got to be forward thinking, and we can't necessarily use those old tactics. And for the young people, I really enjoy talking to our current warriors that are out there and working about what they're doing, and explaining to them why some of the things they're doing, the why behind what they're actually doing today. They'll go out and do something, and they'll say, okay, that worked real well, man, that works well. But they don't understand how the trials and errors that came to that, to develop that tactic or technique, that their procedure or the background of it. And it gives them a lot of insight.